December 2010. It was just a few weeks after the birth of our son, Logan. He had spent a lot of time in the hospital. And we had a daughter, Ariel, too, who at the time was 4, now she's 14. I was probably at my most fittest level, physically speaking. I was going to the gym every day, working out for 2 hours at a time. Everything, seemed to be going really well in my life. I felt on top of my game, and in my job, I should say I was an overachiever. I really did well at sales. During that December period, first symptom I noticed was actually really acute earache. I dismissed it as something which was probably going to pass. Not only did the symptoms not go away, but other symptoms started to manifest. Only Amy, who had been concerned all along, then forced me into the car and she took me to the emergency room, where I stumbled in, at this point unable to walk, talk or breathe properly. The head doctor of the hospital came to see me and suggested that what I had was really serious, to the point I believe he even said that I only have a couple of days left to live if I don't get a diagnosis and treatment quick enough. I was on the verge of kidney and lung failure. Fortunately for me, they were able to give me a really quick diagnosis: granulomatosis with polyangiitis, let's just call it GPA for short. I was still dealing with some challenging emotions, just fear, feeling terrified. Those first 1 or 2 days where I just didn't know for sure if I was going to make it through any of this. It was just really hard for me to get my head around. I couldn't even begin to fathom the idea that not only was I told that I was running out of time potentially, but it might just be a couple of days. The next concern was just how physically diminished I might be for the months and years to come, and recovering, trying to gain back some of the person who I used to be before all this started to happen. The issue wasn't about how long could I live, it was more about what kind of quality of life I would have ahead of me now. Well, I was extremely frail looking and just didn't recognize myself. I found that quite depressing, quite alarming. It was a very alienating period. I just didn't feel like myself anymore. I felt like I lost the person who I was. Created all this space for new things, new realizations and epiphanies, new ways of looking at the world. One push-up became the new goal, and with that gave me new meaning. So during my time on long-term disability, I really began to understand how much pressure I'd been putting on myself with regard to my job and many other things which I just felt were important at the time. Buying whatever that money could buy, falling into a social narrative which I had been led to believe was normal, which I really thought there was no other way of living. Just realizing how much of that depended on being strong, the ability to motivate yourself, get up in the morning, be energized. My illness allowed me to do was realize that I didn't have to maintain that level of invulnerability at all times. I could afford to flounder, embrace a more fragile side of myself. With the limited amount of strength and energy I had, I decided to put some of those principles into practice and start learning about things, start engaging in certain activities. Bit by bit, I couldn't embrace some of those pastimes for very long, but over a period of time, my strength did come back, and I was able to learn a lot about physical fitness, wellness, recovery, as well as throwing myself back into the world of psychology. A lot of the study I did was heavily focused on people who were suffering from major and chronic illnesses, and how they navigate around that, how they find meaning, how they reinvent their personal narratives. That being the story that we tell ourselves about ourselves can do a lot, can say a lot when it comes to how well we deal with a challenge. once you are able to maybe minimize some of your obligations and help yourself manage it, then find meaning in the things that you do decide to keep within your life. Find meaning within the challenge. It correlates an awful lot to finding the motivation to carry on and giving yourself a reason to live and enjoy life. In spite of what we're all going through physically, psychologically, we still have strengths, and it's about finding those strengths which can help us live fulfilled lives and give us purpose, and that everybody has potential, and that everybody can find purpose in something, no matter how physically limited they may be.